In 2005, we took a jet boat tour from Moab, Utah to Canyonlands National Park. This video is part 3 of the full-length video of the tour. There's also a shorter edited version where much of the travel between stops is eliminated. This part takes you from the Thelma and Louise Point to Canyonlands National Park and back to Moab. Like, comment, and subscribe if you like this content.
Passed it 3 times. We'll show it to you on the 4th time, and then on the way back, if you want to see it, you'll be able to see it. Okay, it's a little different from down here, you know. I always like to do that because people think they know where Dead Horse Point is, and it's easy to get confused down here. If you look right up here on top of this cliff where it's flat, if you follow that out to the left where it drops off that point right there, that little point is what we call Thelma and Louise Point. That's where they shot 2 1966 Ford Thunderbird convertible cars off the top of that cliff right there to make the ending scene of the movie Thelma and Louise. A lot of people thought that that movie was filmed in Arizona. 75% of that movie was filmed in the Moab area. The one reason why is because when the girls almost slide off that cliff right there before they drive off of it, one of the girls looks at the other one and says, "This must be the Grand Canyon." Well, that's the PG version of how she words it, but it's close to that. Okay? But then the helicopter comes up over the edge at them. They back up. They decide the helicopter goes over the top of them, dusts them out. They back up. They're surrounded by police, so they decide that it's over, and they hug and kiss and hold hands, and then they drive off that cliff. Well, in the movie, all you get to see is that car comes off the edge, and that's where the movie ends. But they actually did film those cars all the way down, but you don't get to see that. Yeah, a lot of people in Moab were very disappointed because they went clear through that whole chick flick, through the movie theater, to see that ending scene, and the car comes off the edge. Everybody went home disappointed.
Yeah, that's right.
They wanted to see those cars splash into the river again, and yeah, they didn't. And so a lot of people were disappointed. But out in Arches National Park, for those of you that have been out there and those that haven't, when you go out there, you'll see they do a little driving scene out there, these girls, out in Arches National Park. And in Arches, they drive 90 miles an hour for 9 hours out in Arches National Park. I'd like to see you guys try that. If you can find a road out there you can do 90 for 5 minutes, I would like to see it. There's just no way. Yeah, but they travel a total distance of about 600 yards in that scene. And then they get pulled over by an Arizona highway patrolman out in Arches National Park. They get his gun away from him. They shoot out his radios. They shoot some holes in the trunk of his car. They open up his trunk. They steal his beer that's in there. They take that, and then they lock him in the trunk of his car. Well, if you watch in the background of that scene, while they're locking him in the trunk of his car, you can actually see the Tower of Babel, Sheeprock, the 3 Gossips, the Courthouse Towers, all in the background of that scene. You can see Courthouse Towers, I think, like 3 or 4 times, because they're going in, they're going out, they're going in, they're going to get pulled over, they're going out. I mean, it's unbelievable, but we've had lots of movies, and a lot of commercials and stuff are filmed out here. If you want to see some of that footage of stuff that were filmed out here, if you want to see some of the props, there's a little John Wayne museum upstream, up at Wreck Lodge. It's the lodge before your guys' lodge as you're going upstream. It's up there 14 miles. It's a free little movie museum, and you guys can all go up there and look through it. But up there, that's where there's one of the Thelma and Louise dolls that came off the cliff that's up there. This company actually pulled it out of the river when they helped get the wreckage out of the river. We had them both sitting on our dock for several years until one of them got stolen. So then we donated the other girl to the John Wayne Museum, so that's why she's up there and the other one isn't. But
she looks a little weathered.
Yeah, she does. And I think if you're, it's been a while, but I think her lips are gone.
Yeah.
Because she was coming off the cliff. Yeah. But anyways, we've had lots of John Wayne's filmed up there, like Rio Grande, Rio Conchos, Fort Apache, San Cochise, Tie Yellow Ribbon, Wagon Master, Comancheros. Some of the other ones were filmed up there too, but those are the more common ones. Yeah. Searchers, Stagecoach. Oh man, he's on top of it. Yeah.
We're staying at Reckless.
You're staying at Reckless. Yeah, that's nice there. But We've also had some other movies filmed out here. The most recent was The Incredible Hulk, that we had Austin Powers, Goldmember, Breakdown with Kurt Russell, Broken Arrow with John Travolta, Galaxy Quest with Tim Allen, Larger Than Life with Bill Murray, Back to the Future 2, Back to the Future 3, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Forrest Gump, Geronimo with Gene Hackman and Robert Duvall. I'm going to keep going. There's only been about 250 major movies filmed out here. So if you want a list when you get back, ask the girl in the office. She'll give you a list, and you guys can go home and rent them all. Yeah, there's a lot that we don't like to talk about, like Nightmare at Noon. Yeah, the government poisons the river, and the people in Moab start drinking it, and then they start stabbing each other. It's a wonderful family movie. You need to get the family closer together. That's a good one for you. You know. We've also had some Western vampire movies that left a little bit to be desired too. Yeah, with David Carradine. You know who David Carradine is? Yeah, he was in one of those, and it was awful. Iger Sanction. Did you see
Was
Iger?
that filmed out
Yeah, part of that was filmed up in Castle.
How about the spire where George Kennedy and Clint Eastwood climbed to the top?
With the beer?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That was filmed
What,
up.
no ice? He said, I figured you'd draw the line on bringing ice.
Yeah, that's funny.
Well, part of that must have been filmed at Zion as well.
Probably.
Yeah, because you'd see some of the running they were doing, and the lodge looked like Zion.
It's been a while since I seen that show. I'll have to go watch it again. But yeah, I like that. He carries that beer across that whole. Like, man, I'd really like a beer right now. He's like, you'd have to be a fool to carry a beer up here or something like that. He's like, I didn't, you did it. He put it in his backpack.
Yeah, did he tell him that he'd been up that spire before?
Yeah.
And he never did?
Yeah.
That was pretty funny.
It's a pretty good show. We've also had a lot of car commercials. I told you about some. We've had the first car commercial was the Chevrolet car commercial. You guys remember that, where they lifted this car up on top of Castle Rock. Then they flew this model up there in her white dress, and she's standing by the car waving her dress as the helicopter flies around the cliff. Well, the part you don't get to see in that little scene is that they lifted her up there. Then the helicopter went back to Moab to get the camera crew to go back up there and film that. Well, when the helicopter went back to town, the helicopter got grounded for 3 hours. So this little model is stuck up there on top of this cliff. And the reason why the helicopter got grounded is because of the Moab storm, which is wind. So she's up there on this high pinnacle with this wind just blowing up there. Just crazy. Yeah. Well, my dad got to help out with that commercial. That's how I found out about it. But he said that the producer told him, you know, he says, the only thing that we're worried about after filming this is that the people that watch this commercial will read her lips. Well, she wasn't saying very nice words. I'm sure she was saying, like, get me off of here, you wonderful people. Those exact words, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is about that commercial is Chevrolet came back a few years later to film an identical commercial with a different car and a different model. He did not come back with them. But yeah, it's kind of good. We're going to go down here around the corner and get off the boat and stretch our legs.
Okay.
Got warm enough.
Yep.
My head's on 1.5. Are we supposed to keep walking?
He said, we'll see you tomorrow.
It's a nice trail, though.
where they're thinking they came from were the ancestral Rockies, but they're not absolutely sure on that. But it's all a guesstimation. But, they think that they got uprooted from those high mountains, floated down some type of water deposit, and actually got stuck right here in this big mud flat. Now all the trees that are down here are all laying down just like this, so they know that they weren't growing here because none of them are standing up. But they believe that the trees actually floated down, got stuck in the mud, they got covered up layer upon layer. They fossilized, and then as the river started to cut down through the canyon, it eroded away all the sandstone, but left the trees for us to see because they're much harder than the rest of the rock. So that's why we still have the trees. This layer that it's stuck in right here is roughly around 245 million years old. So give or take a few years. I don't think it really matters. That's about how old the trees are. This is part of Dead Horse Point State Park, so you can't take any trees out with you today, okay? Although they did say you guys could have these two right here.
If you can carry them out, you can have them.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyways, yeah, it almost looks like somebody cut them in perfect little pieces, but Forest Service cut is what we call it. But anyways, take your pictures here. We're going to walk this right over here. We're not going to go too far. We're going to show you some more trees. You can see some pieces up there along the edge up there, and there's some other little trees over here. We'll go over here and show you. We'll show you some fossils, and then we'll just head back to the boat. Be careful on the loose rocks, okay? Don't step on any of that loose stuff. Full thick layer out there, filled with it. This is a fossilized oyster. It comes out of that sand that you guys just walked up through.
This is better than that restaurant.
Here's a brachiopod. One is polished. This one comes out of, that's what it looks like when it comes out before it's polished. This is a piece of an arrowhead, just the tip of it. Here's a scallop. Here is a piece of horned coral. Oh, thank you. It's like a little table.
Right.
We'll put some more on there. That's some horned coral. This is a piece of dinosaur bone. This is a it's a piece of leverite. Yeah. Leverite where you found her, you know. Is this nothing? But anyways, there's some fossils for you guys to look at.
Some more petrified wood there.
Here's the oyster, and here's the mussel. So, anyways, yeah. But if you go out to a place called Mill Canyon, there's actually, you can see the dinosaur bones sticking right out of the rock. And there's also some big brontosaurus tracks out there that are about 2 feet long, about 4 inches into the sandstone. So, if you want to go, it starts to clear up a little bit. And upstream we get some, where it gets all that silky stuff. Pull those out. It's got a shallow root system and a deep root system. It's just amazing how they just hold everything in. But one thing it has done is it's kind of created the river where it kind of has a channel now. Before it kind of just cut into everything. Well, now it's just kind of holding everything there.
Slows the erosion, yeah.
So it slows down the erosion a little bit, but and now we have the wonderful mosquito thanks to that tree. Yeah. So it takes all the water out of the river and makes a nice little moist climate for the mosquitoes. And we use, yeah, and normally used to be where you didn't hardly see any. I mean, it was just unusual to see a mosquito, and now we just have tons of mosquitoes, and especially in the summertime. It's right there. In the summertime, they say we'll drink anywhere from 50 to 200 gallons of water per day.
Oh.
So if you count all the trees that we've passed, that's a lot of water that's being absorbed. And like I said, all this water's used up downstream. Yeah, well, that's why. It's just amazing. They say by the time this river reaches California, you can take 1.5 million gallons of water off of this river, because that's about how much it's drinking. So every week or something like that. It's amazing how much water it drinks. So it's a pretty tree. I say it's a plant that we love to hate, because it's beautiful and green along the river, but it's just got some few problems, and it crowds out our natural vegetation, which we don't have a lot of. But the sandbar willow, if the sandbar willow can get up through it, then it tends to do all right. And the sandbar willow's that real narrow leaf looking stuff that we walk through, kind of a sticky looking tree, but you'll see it more just around these trees there. But that's a native plant. It's a sandbar willow or a narrow leaf willow. Fish, catfish, and carp. Those are the only two fish that you can fish for and keep.
Sleeping. You don't even have that.
Yeah, we have 4. Those 2 fish are not native to the river. They were brought in. Then we have 4 common native fish, which are the humpback chub, the bony-tailed chub, the razorback suckerfish, and the Colorado pike minnow. And the Colorado pike minnow is the biggest fish in the river. It has been known to grow up to 6 feet long and weigh anywhere from 80 to 100 pounds, and it is in the minnow family. No, it's very good eating though. When John Wesley Powell came down the Green River section, he wrote in his journal about this fish, and he says that the Native Americans actually called it a white salmon. But he says he wants you to know that it is not a salmon. He says it's about as edible as a paper of pins cooked in lard oil.
That's a good phrase.
That's a good demonstration of what it tastes like. But if you want to read on that fish and find out if I'm telling you the truth, it's in the books under Colorado squawfish. But 4 years ago, they came in and changed that name because that one's politically incorrect. So I didn't say it. Bless you. We have some crawdads and some frogs in here too. People go get those. I don't. I don't even like the catfish out of here. They kind of have a taste of mud for some reason. I've never been able to figure that one out. And the catfish, the biggest one pulled out of here, by the way, is 48 pounds. They get pretty good size. Well, here is Dead Horse Point State Park. The actual point. You want me to show you? Oh, is that what you're waiting for? Right up here on top of this highest cliff, all the way up on top and all the way to the right, you can see a canopy up there on top. It almost looks like a hang glider getting ready to come off of there. And if you come just a little bit back from where that canopy is, just a little bit to the left there, to that next little highest point, or kind of where the sun meets the shade, and go directly up on top, you can actually see somebody standing up there on top of there.
Take the binocs out.
So you believe, yeah.
You'll see him up there as soon as he puts him up there. He'll be like, oh, yep, there he is. He's got a tan shirt right now, and tan shorts, Nike shoes on, Timex watch.
Light a cigarette.
Yeah.
There's actually 2 or 3 people up there.
Yeah, there is. There's a person in a dark clothing. I don't know what it is. Anyways. If any of you have seen the opening scenes of Mission Impossible 2 with Tom Cruise hanging off the cliff, that's where it was filmed. Dead Horse Point, the opening scene, where he's climbing at the first in the movie. Yeah, Tom Cruise didn't stay here though. He has a little home over in Telluride, Colorado. Has anybody ever been through Telluride?
Inexpensive place. We just left. It's very inexpensive.
No, yeah, very inexpensive. Yeah, small homes over there. Nothing real big. Yeah, only about 5,000 square feet on the main floor. It's probably Tom Cruise's Thursday home, or his Tuesday home, I'm sure. But anyways, I'll turn the boat so you can see it. You can drive your car right out to that point. You have to get out of your car, walk on a concrete path about 20 yards, but I think you guys can all handle it. It's not too bad. But anyways, what it is there's 15 acres up there on top, and that 15 acres is all surrounded by cliff, all but one little spot where you could drive 2 cars out to that 15 acres. So there's a real narrow neck behind this big section there. What the cowboys used to do is they used to herd the wild horses out there. Then they just have to build a little fence. They wouldn't have to build a big corral to corral the horses in. So it just made an easy place for them to go in and collect them. And there's lots of stories and legends about how Dead Horse Point got its name. And they'll tell you all kinds of stories when you're out there. But they did find some horse carcasses up on top. Not off the cliff. We get a lot of people that say, oh, the cowboys drove the horses off the cliff. And if you want to believe that, I always say, come out here in July when it's about 120 and go out to I-70 and get dropped off and walk back to Moab without using the asphalt road and see how far you make it. Yeah, it's just, horses were just way too valuable. There's no way a cowboy would ever intentionally hurt a horse like that. They would sell it before they would kill it. But the story that they tell you out there is they think that it might have been an accident. And what they think might have happened is when they herded them out there, it made an easy place for them to corral them and collect them. So they went in, gathered up the horses that they wanted and the ones that they needed, left with those horses, opening up the gate, expecting that the ones that they didn't want would be smart enough to walk back off by themselves. Well, the problem with that is they were scared from being chased out in that direction, and also they could see the river and smell the water down below, but they couldn't get down to it. So some people think that maybe some of the horses may have stayed out there dehydrated and died. Some people say that that the cowboys herded them out there, that they were so excited that they jumped back on their horses, rode into Moab, went to the saloon, got in a saloon fight. Well, the sheriff threw them in jail for a couple weeks. Well, by the time they got back out there, the horses were all dead. I mean, you guys will have to go out there and find which one you like the best and go with it, okay? But some people say that it was misnamed. It was supposed to be Dead Paint Horse. Because there was this old cowboy that had this paint horse out there, and the horse was blind. Well, he tied it up to a tree limb during the night. Well, during the night the tree limb broke. The horse smelled the water and walked off the edge. And there's other names why it's
I'm sure if you visit that bar you can get a few more stories.
Yeah, well, When you go out to Dead Horse Point and you look off that cliff towards us here, you can see these white rocks on this first little ledge there just above the trees. When you go up there on top, look down, you'll see these white rocks down below. And these white rocks are all uplifted, and it looks like a horse that's uplifted down there, those white rocks. So some people call that the spirit of the dead horse, and that's why it's called
That's what
Dead
they
Horse
called it.
Point. Yeah, so... Anyways, we could go on and on, but we're going to end. Some people say it was misnamed in other ways, too. All you have to do is slur the name a little bit, and you'll figure that one. If you look upstream now, and I can't tell you that story, or else I would. I got in trouble this last year. This is the beginning of this year, so I can't tell you that story anymore. So if you go up there, you'll hear it. You know, you can read the book on it. But if you look right up there, where it looks like it's an upside-down boot rock formation up there on top. Or I had a little girl the other day that said, "That's not an upside-down boot. It looks like my dad's lazy boy with his remote on the end of it." Well, whatever you want it to be, okay? But that little area right there is what we call the gooseneck or the horseshoe. And what happens is the river comes down, hits right here on this wall, then the river comes down here behind you guys, makes a big horseshoe bend to the left, the river goes around this big section of rock, and the river comes right back around and hits right there on the other side. It's only about 400 or 500 yards apart right there. So if you stand up there where that boot is, you can see the river here and over there. That's how narrow it is. And the reason why I point that out is because we're going to go downriver and we're going to be on the other side of that, and you'll be able to get your bearings from the other side. So.
Is that the part that thing's going to eventually run
Yes,
through?
eventually the geologists believe that the river will actually eat through that section and take a shortcut through there, and the river won't come down this way anymore. But give us about 10,000 years, okay? Yeah.
That's how long it takes.
Yeah. And I'll be your guide. You guys can come back. Yeah. And just since you guys have been so nice to me today, I'll sell you discount tickets today. Yeah, you just pay me cash. Yeah, no post-dated checks. This will be cash. And I'll bring you back down here. Yeah, don't go through the office because it voids everything. Yeah, because they have to do all that paperwork stuff, you know. Yeah, don't want it to fall down. Nobody's buying into that, huh?
I don't think so.
I thought maybe the Canadians would.
We'll talk.
We gotta show you now. First off, we'll start over here. We'll get this over with. You look right over here. You get Canyonlands National Park sign. Freshly painted just for you guys. Yeah, we came down and painted that up for you last week. Anyways, the upside down boot that I showed you guys on the other side is now, it's right over here, but it's a little different.
Yeah.
It's right up there. It's actually the profile face now of Yogi Bear looking upstream. And his old friend Boo Boo's down below with his thumb in his mouth. Or he's playing a saxophone. I don't know what they're doing over there. But if you look close to Yogi Bear, you'll notice he's got a little Zorro mask tied around his little eyeballs. If you look even closer, you'll notice he's been drinking milk. Yeah, I've been doing this tour just a little too long. I think.
yeah.
You guys are like, what a weirdo. Nobody's saying anything.
Just agreeing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thanks for, thanks for agreeing with me. Hurts my feelings when you don't do that. If you look even close now. This little alcove that's just coming into view down here, you'll be able to see the back of it here in just a second. It doesn't go back very far, but that little area is what we call the grotto. And every year in September we have a music festival that comes to Moab. It's usually the first 2 weeks in September. And out of that first 2 weeks, it's usually the first 2 Thursdays in September. We bring about 200 people down here by jet boat. They all get off right here. They go up in this little alcove behind the trees here, and we have a little natural symphony, or actually it's chamber music and opera back up in there. Every year they at least bring down one baby grand piano down by jet boat and haul it back up in there. And here's the brochure if you guys want to pass it around. You can look through it. You can see the piano back up in there. It's not a real good picture, but you can see it back up in there. 2 years ago, they hauled down 2 baby grand pianos by jet boat and hauled it back up in there. But what they come down here for is the acoustics. The acoustics are just unbelievable. The sound just travels out of there like you wouldn't believe. I bring people down for it every year, but I anchor up out here in the river and fish while they're back up in there doing their thing. But I can hear every word that they're saying up in there out here in the river. Then our local wineries come down and serve you wine, cheese, and crackers while you're back up in there. Last year we had, this year that was just mostly piano and violins and stuff like that. But last year we had bagpipes, cellos, harps, all kinds of stuff back up in there. It was
hauling
unbelievable.
a piano in there.
Yeah, wouldn't that be fun?
Oh,
It
yeah.
takes 6 guys to do
A
that.
little narrow path, yeah.
Haul back up here, go right up this wash right there. Yeah, if you watch Channel 21, if you're staying in a hotel room on the TV, watch that for a little bit. I think it might still be playing, but they actually show you the people hauling the piano back up in there. It's pretty neat.
How many people can fit back there?
200's pushing it. I mean, you can put a few more, but that's about it. About 200. But yeah, it's pretty neat.
To what time you think we'll get to Lake Powell?
About 5 o'clock this evening. Yeah, and we'll fly back by airplane.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is actually Disneyland. We're just waiting for the conveyor belt down here to take us back up. That's what we're waiting for. Yeah. And these guys thought they went to Moab. We're actually in Disneyland, guys. Yeah, we're just telling you.
Hippos are gonna wait.
Yeah, the hippos are gonna pop up out of the water.
Yeah.
The University Shark.
The thing is, how far are we from the Green River?
From here, about another 4 miles from here.
that's the end of the tour. Like and subscribe, please.